Get your ghetto self out of my hotel before I call the police. Derek Walsh snatched the black card from Maxine Waters' hand and slammed it onto the marble floor. His polished Oxford shoe pressed down, grinding the 5,000 limit Centurion card beneath his heel like a discarded cigarette. This is embarrassing for everyone, he said loudly enough for the entire lobby to hear. Wherever you found this fake card, take it back there. The front desk clerk, Sarah, let out a nervous laugh. Should I grab a mop? That thing probably has germs on it. Maxine didn't move. Her plain white shirt and faded jeans had triggered every prejudice they carried. The lobby clock glowed 11:47 p.m. Tonight they were unaware that their own words were ending their careers. Have you ever been insulted in a place you actually own? Maxine bent down, picked up her trampled card, and felt the warmth left by Derek's shoe. She straightened, slid it into her worn leather bag, and spoke quietly. I have a penthouse reservation. She placed her phone on the marble counter, a confirmation email visible on the screen. Sterling Grand Hotel, Penthouse Suite 45501, guest Maxine Waters. Derek gave it a glance and scoffed. Anyone can fake this kind of thing. You think we're stupid? Behind him, Sarah typed rapidly. I'm checking the system. There is a Maxine Waters registered, but she looked up, clearly confused. This can't be right. What can't be right? Maxine asked evenly. Well, Sarah gestured vaguely. The real Maxine Waters would be different. Important, you know? Derek leaned forward, voice dripping with arrogance. Let me explain something, sweetheart. This is a 5-star hotel. We host CEOs, celebrities, diplomats. Look around you. He gestured toward the chandeliers, Italian marble, and mahogany desk. Do you see anyone else dressed like they just came from a discount store? Maxine checked her phone. 11:52 p.m., 8 minutes left before her video conference with Tokyo's Yamamoto Industries and a $200 million deal that had taken 6 months to finalize. The tension in the lobby thickened as guests began to notice. An elderly couple whispered behind jeweled hands. A man in a $1,000 suit paused his call to watch. A woman in the seating area, Jennifer Kim, started streaming the encounter live. I'm at this luxury Chicago hotel, Jennifer whispered to her phone. They're refusing service to a black woman for no reason. This is wild. The viewer count began to climb, 47, 89, 156. Derek smirked, confidence rising. I've worked in luxury hospitality for 8 years. I can spot a scam from a mile away. The way you walk, talk, even that cheap bag on it all screams fake. He pointed at her sneakers. You know what those say? That you take the bus, that you shop thrift, that you've never stayed in a place like this, except maybe to clean it? Sarah giggled behind her hand. Derek, that's harsh. But you're not wrong. Maxine opened her messenger bag slightly, revealing a first-class boarding pass, Chicago to Tokyo, 6:00 a.m. flight, the same one for the Yamamoto meeting. Next to it lay the same black Centurion card Derek had stepped on. I understand you're busy, Maxine said evenly, but I do need to check in. Derek's laugh was sharp. Busy lady, I've got time, plenty of time to explain reality to you. He leaned closer, his breath reeking of arrogance. This isn't a community center where you can demand things. This is private property. My property to protect. Patricia Wong, the assistant manager, stepped out with a stack of papers. Derek immediately called to her. Pat, we've got a situation. Someone's trying to con their way into the penthouse using fake documents and a sob story. Patricia's eyes scanned Maxine. Jeans, simple blouse, old bag, and judgment came fast. Ma'am, I'll need a valid photo ID that proves you can actually afford a $2,800 a night suite. The Instagram live viewer count hit 312. Comments poured in. Still dealing with this in 2025? This hotel needs to be investigated. Call the manager now. This woman deserves better. Maxine handed over her driver's license. Patricia held it up to the light, checked the hologram, even sniffed it. This could be fake too, she said loudly. Identity theft's a crime. Derek, should I call the police? Good thinking, Derek replied, dialing. Chicago PD. This is Derek Walsh, night manager at the Sterling Grand. We have a suspected fraud attempt. The digital clock blinked 11:54 p.m. 6 minutes left. Maxine watched his performance, noticing how he kept glancing toward the guests, eager for their approval. For him, this wasn't just about power, it was theater. Sarah leaned over to Patricia. Should I cancel her reservation? Open the suite for someone else? Absolutely, Patricia said. No point holding it for someone who clearly can't afford it. Maxine's phone buzzed. A message from her assistant. Yamamoto Industries calling in 6 minutes. Conference room ready. Are you set? She looked up at the three of them standing firm. Derek smirking, Patricia defensive, Sarah typing away. Behind them, Jennifer's live stream now had more than 800 viewers. Maxine exhaled softly and checked the time. 11:55 p.m. Derek snapped his fingers. Marcus, come up front. Security Chief Marcus Thompson emerged, tall and composed. What's the issue? He asked. Derek wasted no time. We've got a woman trying to scam her way into the penthouse. Fake docs, fake card. Been here 20 minutes refusing to leave. He gestured dramatically. Look at her, Marcus. Does she look like penthouse material to you? Marcus looked at Maxine carefully. Ma'am, I'll need you to come with me. Officer Thompson, Maxine said calmly, reading his name tag. Before you do that, please check your employee handbook, section 14.3. Marcus frowned. What are you referring to? Just check it, she said quietly. Derek rolled his eyes. She's trying to throw legal jargon around. Classic scammer move. Meanwhile, Jennifer's live stream viewer count surged past 1-800. This is unreal, she whispered. They called security for nothing. This is racism live, people. Her comment feed was exploding. Record everything. Tag the media. Sterling Hotel racism. Make it trend. Patricia grabbed Maxine's phone. Let me see this fake reservation myself. She scrolled through the email, frowning. Whoever made this did their homework. Proper letterhead, correct format, even the confirmation code matches. But we know it's fake because... She motioned at Maxine. Well, just look at her. It's not fake, Maxine replied. Sure it's not, Patricia said sarcastically. And I'm Oprah Winfrey. Derek, should we call the cops now? Derek smirked, enjoying the attention. You know what I love about this job? Protecting our real guests, people who actually belong here, from frauds trying to grab luxury for free. He turned toward an elderly couple. Mr. and Mrs. Henderson here have stayed with us for 15 years. They pay $3,000 a night, never any issues. They dress properly. They respect this establishment. Mrs. Henderson shifted uncomfortably, but her husband nodded. Derek kept going, voice rising. And then there are people like this, walking in with fake papers demanding penthouses like they own the place. He pointed at Maxine's worn bag. You see that? I've seen better luggage at gas stations. And those shoes? Those are worker shoes, not penthouse shoes. Sarah laughed softly. Derek, you're terrible. Maybe she does own the place, a voice called from across the lobby. Everyone turned. A young black man in a business suit entered, his briefcase bearing the logo of a major consulting firm. Excuse me, sir, this is a private matter, Derek snapped. The man chuckled. Private? Half of Chicago is watching this live right now. You've made it everyone's business, Marcus tried to intervene. Sir, I'll have to ask you, to what?
Stand quietly while you harass this woman,
the man interrupted. I'm a paying guest here. Room 2847, third night. And in those 3 nights, I've never seen anything this disgraceful. Derek hesitated. Sir, you don't understand. Oh, I understand, the man said. You've been harassing a black woman for half an hour based solely on how she looks. By now, more guests had gathered. Families, couples, all whispering, recording. Maxine glanced at her phone. 11:57 p.m., 3 minutes left. Patricia's own phone buzzed. She read a message and her face turned pale. Derek, she whispered, we've got a problem. What kind of problem? Corporate just messaged. They're monitoring social media for discrimination complaints. And they're asking about tonight. About this exact shift. What exactly must successful black women wear to receive basic respect in their own establishments? The businessman from room 2847 began a slow, deliberate clap. Best hotel incident I've ever seen, and I travel over 200 days a year for consulting, he remarked dryly. Other guests began recording, realizing they were witnessing something significant. The elderly couple looked horrified, while a family with teenagers kept their phones trained on the scene. Behind the counter, Sarah typed frantically, pulling up Maxine's actual booking. Oh my God. It's real, she whispered. The penthouse reservation exists, paid 6 months in advance. Her voice shook as she continued. The payment came from Waters Enterprises' corporate account, $16,800 for 6 nights. I should have double-checked. Derek's voice cracked as panic replaced arrogance. Ma'am, if you had just told us who you were. I did, Maxine Waters replied calmly, her tone steady and professional. I told you my name and that I had a confirmed reservation. You decided that wasn't enough because of how I looked. She opened her leather portfolio and removed another document. This is the acquisition agreement dated March 15, 2025. Waters Enterprises purchased the Sterling Hotel Group for $847 million in cash. We now operate 847 properties across 23 countries, she pointed at Derek's name tag. Derek Walsh, employee ID 4471, you work for me. Then to Patricia. Patricia Wong, employee ID 4203, you work for me. Finally to Sarah. Sarah Mitchell, employee ID 4892, you also work for me. Derek straightened up, trying to recover a hint of composure. Ma'am, this is all a terrible misunderstanding. If you'd just... Maxine raised her hand gently. The only misunderstanding, Derek, was yours. You assumed that a black woman dressed casually couldn't belong in your hotel. You made that judgment publicly, on camera and with complete certainty. She glanced at her phone. 11:59 p.m. Before I take my conference call with Tokyo in exactly 60 seconds, she continued evenly. Let me explain why I came here tonight. Maxine reached into her portfolio once more and pulled out a printed email thread. The subject line was clearly visible to everyone in the room. 47 formal complaints in just 3 months. Maxine stated it clearly. 47 guests reported feeling unwelcome, judged, or discriminated against at this hotel. The report cited staff assumptions, inconsistent service, and at times, open hostility. Flipping through the pages, she summarized, guests wrote things like, staff treated me like I didn't belong. They assumed I couldn't afford my room, and my personal favorite, the manager asked if I was sure I was in the right hotel. Her eyes met Derek's. That's why I came to investigate personally. And thank you for the live demonstration. By then, Jennifer's livestream had hit over 12,000 viewers, and local news accounts on Twitter had begun sharing clips. The hashtag "There's some Sterling Hotel racism" was trending across Chicago. Derek made one last attempt. Ma'am, this was all a misunderstanding. If you could just forgive this one incident. Before he could finish, Maxine's phone rang. The screen displayed, Yamamoto Industries, Tokyo. She answered calmly, eyes still fixed on Derek. Yamamoto-san, yes, I'm ready for our call. I'm currently conducting the audit I mentioned earlier. I'll have complete findings prepared for tomorrow's board meeting. She listened briefly. Yes, the discrimination issues are worse than anticipated, but I already have a corrective plan to implement immediately. As she ended the call, Derek's complexion shifted from red to pale. Patricia stood quietly behind the counter, tears welling. Marcus remained frozen, his hand hovering near his radio. The crowd had grown. Nearly 20 guests now filled the lobby, many live streaming what was unfolding. Now, Maxine said, opening her laptop, let's discuss your employment status. She connected the device to the wall-mounted display screen. The Sterling Hotel Group logo appeared, followed by a presentation titled, Operational Audit, Chicago Location, December 17, 2025. Allow me to share a few numbers, she began. Her tone steady, professional, not emotional. This was not a scene of outrage, but the composed delivery of a CEO addressing results. The first slide appeared. Revenue dropped from $1.8 million to $1.2 million over the past year. Guest satisfaction had fallen to 2.3 out of 5, while the luxury hotel average remained 4.2. Annual staff turnover had reached 89%. These figures tell a story, Maxine continued. A story of a hotel where guests don't feel welcome, employees don't want to stay, and management has lost control of basic service standards. Patricia's grip tightened on the counter. Her knuckles turned white. She had seen parts of these numbers before, but never like this, displayed publicly for all to witness. Turning to Derek, Maxine continued. Derek Walsh, night manager, employee ID 4471. Annual salary, $54,000. In the past 6 months, 23 complaints have been filed specifically about your conduct. Derek shook his head. That's not possible. I would have been told. You were told, Maxine interrupted, switching slides. 17 written warnings are in your personnel file. Your supervisor held 4 coaching sessions. Your last performance review rated you 1.8 out of 5. She paused. Your department's guest satisfaction scores are the lowest in our North American division. Many guests cited feeling unwelcome, judged, and discriminated against during your night shifts. Jennifer's live stream had now crossed 15,000 viewers. With comments flashing rapidly across the screen, she's dismantling them with facts. Better than courtroom TV. Updating his resume right now. Receipts, Queen. Maxine turned next to Patricia. Patricia Wong, Assistant Manager, Employee ID 4203. Annual salary $61,000. 19 guest complaints in 6 months. 7 failed mystery shopper evaluations out of 8. Patricia's breathing quickened. She had assumed guest dissatisfaction came from unrealistic expectations, not from internal failures. Your diversity training is 8 months overdue, Maxine continued. Your customer service certification expired last year and was never renewed. 4 disciplinary actions are also on record for inappropriate guest interactions. Advancing to the next slide, Maxine said evenly, "This isn't about isolated mistakes or personality clashes. This is systemic discrimination that has created a hostile environment for both guests and employees." She moved closer to the counter, her calm voice carrying unmistakable authority. "When I acquired Sterling Hotel Group 6 months ago, this location was marked as our highest legal risk for discrimination claims. Our legal department estimated $2.3 million in potential damages." Derek tried to interject. "Ma'am, those figures must be inflated," Maxine continued without looking up. 3 federal cases are already in progress. Our attorneys project total settlements could reach $5.7 million if we lose. And after tonight's performance streamed to over 15,000 witnesses, our exposure just increased exponentially. The businessman from room 2847 spoke softly, shaking his head. "In 20 years of consulting, I've never seen a more precise public audit. This is a masterclass in accountability." On the next slide, the corporate hierarchy appeared. Derek Walsh, Regional Manager. Janet Davis, Vice President Michael Carter. Executive VP Sarah Kim, Maxine Waters. "When you disrespected me tonight," Maxine said, "you didn't just insult a guest. You publicly humiliated the owner of your company before thousands of witnesses. Every viewer now associates Sterling Hotels with bias and discrimination." Derek's hands trembled. Sweat formed on his forehead despite the cool lobby air. "Please, ma'am," he said quietly. "I have a family, a mortgage." "I didn't know who you were." Maxine met his eyes. "You're right, you didn't know I was the owner. But you did know I was a human being, and you made a conscious choice to treat me otherwise, based entirely on appearance and prejudice." Maxine advanced to a new slide, displaying a section from the employee handbook they had discussed earlier. Section 14.3 is very specific regarding discriminatory behavior. She read aloud. It mandates immediate termination without severance and allows for personal legal liability in cases involving reputational harm to the company. She then closed her laptop and stepped to the center of the lobby, ensuring that everyone present and watching online could see her clearly. Under the glow of the chandeliers, she no longer appeared as a tired traveler but as the decisive Fortune 500 executive she truly was. Derek Walsh, Patricia Wong. "You both have 3 choices," Maxine said firmly. "I'll need your decisions immediately." She raised one finger. Option 1, immediate resignation. You leave quietly tonight. I'll provide neutral employment references and this incident won't appear in your records. You'll preserve whatever professional credibility remains. 2 fingers. Option 2, termination for cause. This event becomes part of your permanent employment file. No references from Sterling Hotels. Potential civil action for brand damage. Any future employer who verifies your record will see that your dismissal was related to discrimination. Then 3 fingers. Option 3, corporate investigation. A full HR review lasting 3 to 6 months. It will involve media coverage, legal testimony, and your names will be permanently linked to this case in public records and online archives. The entire lobby fell silent. Even the live chat on Jennifer's stream seemed to pause as thousands of viewers waited for a response. "You have 60 seconds to decide," Maxine stated, glancing at her phone. "I have 3 more Sterling properties to audit tonight, and I won't extend this discussion." Derek finally spoke, his voice trembling. Ma'am, surely there's a middle ground, some way to resolve this privately. I've been with the company for 3 years. I've covered extra shifts, holidays, overtime. Maxine opened a thick folder from her portfolio and interrupted. Derek, this file contains every documented complaint against you. Most guests never pursued their claims because they didn't want to fight a large corporation. They simply took their business elsewhere and warned others to avoid Sterling hotels. She unfolded the pages, dozens of printed emails and formal complaint forms. Examples include, staff treated me like I didn't belong, manager assumed I couldn't afford my stay, made inappropriate remarks about my appearance, and asked if I was sure I was in the right hotel. Patricia stepped forward hesitantly, her mascara streaked from tears. Ms. Waters, I'm truly sorry, she said softly. I was following Derek's direction. I thought I was supporting my supervisor. I never intended for things to go this far. Patricia, we're both adults who made deliberate choices, Maxine said firmly. You decided to treat me with disrespect and contempt. The fact that I own this hotel doesn't matter. You would have treated any black woman dressed like me the same way. A quiet voice came from behind the counter. What about me, ma'am? Am I being fired too? It was Sarah, nervous and pale. Maxine turned toward her. Sarah, you're 24. You followed your supervisor's orders, but you also joined in the humiliation. You laughed when Derek mocked me, and you implied that my credit card might be fake. That was wrong. Tears filled Sarah's eyes. I only wanted to fit in. I didn't want Derek to think I wasn't part of the team. The question, Maxine continued steadily, is whether you'll learn from this or repeat the same behavior in your career. Do you want to be someone who treats others with respect regardless of their appearance? Or someone who judges based on stereotypes? Marcus, the security guard, stepped forward, his uniform still crisp despite the late hour. Ma'am, what about my role? I was told to escort you out, Maxine nodded. Marcus, you questioned that order immediately. You asked about company policy and refused to act only on appearances. You showed the judgment your colleagues lacked. She looked around the lobby. You have a choice too, Marcus. Help me rebuild this hotel's culture or step aside. But if you stay, you'll be part of the solution. The clock showed 12:03 a.m. Time's up, Maxine said firmly. Derek Walsh, what's your decision? Derek's voice trembled. I resign. He removed his badge and placed it on the counter. The small sound echoed through the silent room. Patricia Wong, Maxine asked next. Patricia's mascara-streaked face crumpled as she whispered, I'm sorry. She placed her badge beside Derek's. Your apology is noted, Maxine replied calmly. Sarah Mitchell, your choice? Sarah wiped her face. I want to learn, ma'am. I want to be better. I don't want to be who I was tonight. Learning requires accountability, Maxine said. Can you admit what you did wrong? I humiliated you, Sarah replied, her voice shaking but growing stronger. I judged you for your clothes and your race. I laughed when I should have spoken up. I was cruel because I wanted to belong. That's honest, Maxine said. Marcus Thompson, your decision? Marcus straightened. I want to help fix this, ma'am. What happened tonight should never happen anywhere again. For the first time that evening, Maxine smiled slightly. Then let's begin. She opened her laptop. Derek and Patricia silently gathered their belongings and left. Others would receive notice of termination through email in the morning. On screen appeared the title, Immediate Reform Implementation, Sterling Grand Chicago. Sarah, Marcus, Maxine began. You'll take part in the most extensive hospitality reform program our company has ever created. What you learn here will be introduced across all 847 Sterling properties. Jennifer's live stream reached over 22,000 viewers. News stations were already calling. Hashtags Sterling Hotel Reform and Sterling Hotel Racism were trending side by side. First, Maxine said, staffing changes, effective immediately. She dialed her phone. Janet Davis, this is Maxine Waters. I'm at the Chicago property. We have a situation that needs urgent attention. Please reassign Kesha Williams from Boston as acting manager starting tomorrow morning, with full authority. Keisha's one of our best, Janet replied, but Boston depends on her. Boston can manage, Maxine interrupted. Chicago is in crisis. Also contact Dr. Amanda Foster, our diversity consultant, and schedule emergency training within 48 hours. She hung up and turned to the team.
Keisha Williams has 15 years of experience turning hotels around through cultural reform.
She's African American and one of our top professionals. Sarah hesitated. Ma'am, will I work under her? If you earn it, Maxine replied. You're on 90 days probation. You'll undergo full retraining in cultural sensitivity, unconscious bias, and luxury service standards. She moved to the next slide. Now technology solutions. We're launching the Guest Dignity Initiative. Every guest interaction will be monitored through a mobile app tracking satisfaction in real time. Guests can report discrimination instantly through QR codes. Reports go directly to corporate headquarters. Marcus nodded. That's a great idea. It prevents cover-ups. Exactly, Maxine said. We'll also install new cameras with audio in public areas, not to spy but to protect both guests and employees. She clicked again. Staff accountability. All staff will attend monthly bias training. Guest satisfaction scores will directly influence performance reviews and raises. Any discrimination report triggers an immediate independent investigation. Maxine faced the onlookers in the lobby. To everyone here tonight, this incident does not reflect Sterling Hotel Group's values. A businessman stood. I've stayed at Sterling for years. I've never seen anything like this, but your response shows integrity. An older woman added, I feel awful we didn't speak up. We should have. Maxine nodded. Our Guest Dignity Initiative will include bystander awareness training, so guests and employees know how to respond when they see discrimination. Next slide, community accountability. Sterling Grand Chicago will partner with local civil rights groups for external oversight. Leaders will review our progress every quarter. She handed a card to Jennifer. This is Dr. Patricia Henderson from the Chicago Urban League. She'll serve as our community liaison for independent review. Jennifer asked on camera, How do you stay calm after what they did to you? Maxine considered. Hate is exhausting. Revenge is temporary. But real change, that lasts. I'd rather spend my energy making sure no one else experiences this. She gestured to Sarah and Marcus. They chose to learn. Derek and Patricia chose to leave. Both choices prove reform is necessary. Maxine checked her phone. It's 12:15 a.m. Sarah, your shift ended 15 minutes ago, but please stay for retraining. Yes, ma'am. Marcus, escort Derek and Patricia out and collect their badges. Then we'll discuss your new position. Understood. Turning to the guests, Maxine said, The penthouse suite is available, but after tonight, I'd rest better knowing real change is already starting. She closed her laptop and glanced around the lobby. The chandeliers still sparkled, the marble floor still shone, but the atmosphere was entirely different. Sarah, she asked, what does the Guest Dignity Initiative mean to you? Sarah stood tall. It means treating every guest with respect, regardless of appearance or status. If I see anyone mistreated, I'll report it immediately. My job is to protect our guests and our reputation. Maxine smiled. That's exactly right. Marcus, your new role? I'm not just security anymore, he said. I'm guest advocacy. My duty is to make sure everyone feels safe and respected. Excellent, Maxine replied. You've both shown more leadership tonight than your former supervisors ever did. Jennifer lowered her phone. Watching you handle this was inspiring. You could have destroyed them, but you created solutions instead. What's your name? Maxine asked. Jennifer Kim. Jennifer, would you like to join our corporate communications team? We need people who understand authentic storytelling. Jennifer's mouth fell open. Are you serious? I'm always serious about finding talent, Maxine said. Send me your resume tomorrow. The lobby, once filled with tension, now felt like a space for progress. Maxine walked toward the elevator with her bag. Sarah, Marcus, see you both at 8 a.m. Rest up. We start rebuilding this hotel's soul tomorrow. The elevator doors closed and Maxine allowed herself a quiet, satisfied smile. Real change had begun. 3 months later, Sterling Grand Chicago proudly displayed a 4.6-star rating. Sarah Mitchell was now a supervisor. Marcus Thompson served as guest relations manager. Revenue had grown by 34%. At the same spot where Derek once insulted her, a plaque now read, "In recognition of the dignity owed to every guest." The Guest Dignity Initiative expanded to all Sterling hotels worldwide, reporting 0 discrimination complaints. The reforms were studied at Harvard Business School. Recording a message on her phone, Maxine said, Discrimination still happens daily in hotels, restaurants, and stores across America. But change begins when people choose accountability over denial. Share your experiences in the comments. Tag businesses that need reform. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And your dignity is non-negotiable. The Sterling transformation proved one thing. Real change begins with one courageous decision.